week 8. And to me, it feels like at least it should be week 12. So that's just a little indication of what a discipline this is for me, and still how challenging this is for me to show up for this. But I'm excited to talk about this next thing. So last week we talked about grocery runs, and I can just imagine a lot of people thinking, or I wish that I had enough time to go grocery shopping with my partner, or there's just not enough time to go grocery shopping with my partner. And I remember when we were first married, I was racing around, and I thought that it was a natural inclination for everyone to split, the to-do list to get it done more efficiently so that there would be an abundance of extra free time. But Peter, he was different. He wanted to make the bed. He wanted to do the things together. And I remember feeling like I was astonished by that. That doesn't make any sense to me, because we're not being efficient with our time. You could do this part of the list. I could do this part of the list. And then we could be done with the list and have an extra time. And he really changed. He really pointed out actually the way that I would have learned that I would rather live, which is to just be in the moment and enjoy every bit of time I have, regardless of what I'm doing at the time. And it took me a long time to understand, or to surrender to, Peter likes to do things together rather than split and be more efficient. But I really, really appreciate that. I have no idea what it's like to have children. I expect that it feels like an additional full-time job to what, taking care of your home is probably at least a half-time job, if not a 3/4-time job. And then raising children is another full-time job. And then a job on that is a full-time job on that. And
sometimes 2 jobs.
Absolutely. Sometimes 2 jobs. And so what I'm just saying is that there was a point in time in my life where I felt like I had 5 free minutes in my day. It was a season in my life where I was just running from one thing to another thing. Nothing personal was getting done. And I had to learn to sit down for 5 minutes and be still for 5 minutes. I had to give myself 5 minutes before I could give myself 10 minutes, before I could give myself 30 minutes. And I've coached people that actually have children and have an issue with time, and they found more time, because usually it's a belief system or a behavior that it's a habit that hasn't been reflected upon. I think that we don't have choices in how we spend our time sometimes. It feels like we're victims of time rather than we can be in charge of time. And it's really mindset shifting.
Exactly. So today I have a mountain bike race in the city within 5 miles of here, depending on which way you go, or the bike path. It's the race, a mountain bike race. It's the same park that has a cyclocross race in the fall.
Beautiful park.
It's also the same place that is going to have a World Cup cross country ski event. There have been 2 other times that there was World Cup cross country skiing events in the United States. This is Nordic cross country. The one time was in Utah. That was before the Olympics. Of course, the Olympics were there. So that kind of counts as cross, but it's not. It's different than World Cup. World Cup and Olympics are separate. Then there might have been one in 1980 before Lake Placid Olympics, but I don't know. Anyways, this is happening here in Minneapolis, in the city limits, in our parks. And our parks are designed for us to walk to the park. Everybody is able to walk to a park. And obviously this one's 5 miles away, but for that part of town, that's their park. And there's a public golf course. They got a par 3, they got frisbee golf, they got mountain bike trails. The mountain bike trails have been riding on in that park for 20 years, have been, you know, were kind of bandit, like stealth rides now. Now they're owned by organizations, or the cross-country race, because it's a big deal. It's really a big deal. There's only been a few in the United States, and one of them is coming to the city, Minneapolis. So cheers to that, Minneapolis.
Well, that's one of the things, the park systems are pretty extraordinary. I mean, we're known for our park
They
systems
always have
here.
been. They were like a babysitter for me growing up here. Like, I would go from school to the park, and then my mom would come.
Because he had 2 full-time working parents. Yeah.
And my mom would come when the lights went out. I was the kid at the park, you know, putting my skates on in the snow before the park opened and shooting around because, you know, I was like, what else are you going to do? And I was just waiting for my friends to show up. We put our skates on outside in the snow. We played all hockey. We carried our skates to school. We rode our bikes to school. We carried our glove. We wore our helmets on our handlebars. That's all we did. Like, it was always around going to the park after school, like every day.
And that still happens. It's evolved a bit, but that's still available today.
And they have free, this summer you can go to parks if you're in Minneapolis and you're a student of Minneapolis or a youth.
Anyone under 18.
Anyone under 18. And even if you're an adult, you can go purchase food at the food truck. I think, you know.
But they have free lunches.
Free lunches for the kids that they go to the schools, that go to summer programs, that go to the parks. They can get a snack and keep on playing. And, you know, you can just look up Minneapolis Parks District, and cheers to that. I mean, I'm so happy to be a Minneapolis Park kid, so that's...
Yay, that's a good note. Cheers until next week.
Until next week, cheers.